Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Learn English podcast show, where we help you improve your English skills through real, natural conversations. I'm your host, and today we're going to explore English in different areas of daily life like travel, food, work, and yes, even fun. This episode is perfect for those of you who want to build your vocabulary, improve listening comprehension, and feel more confident using English in a variety of situations. So grab a cup of tea or coffee and let's dive in.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into something, well, pretty common. Why setting goals, maybe those big New Year's plans, can feel like you're just hitting a wall by, say, February.
Oh, absolutely. That initial burst of enthusiasm, it often fades, doesn't it?
It does, and you shared some really interesting material on this. So our mission, really, is to figure out why we get stuck and, what we can actually do about it.
It's such a relatable problem, and often I think the issue starts right at the beginning with how we even define the goal itself. We focus on the big what without the how.
Exactly. That's one thing that really jumped out, how vague goals tend to be. Like, get a better job. Okay, but what does that mean? Or learn English.
Right, what does better look like? More money, less commute, better boss. And learn English could mean anything from ordering coffee to negotiating a contract.
Without that detail, it's like you're aiming at a fuzzy target. You need specifics, not just vague hopes.
Precisely. If the picture isn't clear, how do you even map out the steps? How do you know if you're making progress towards that better job or really learning English?
Which leads perfectly into this next idea. The difference between motivation and systems. Relying purely on motivation, well, it's a bit like waiting for the wind, isn't it? It comes and goes.
It really does. Motivation is great for getting started, that initial spark, but it's unreliable long term.
Yeah, the material really pushes this idea that real progress comes from building systems, those consistent, maybe small actions you take every day.
Think about exercise. Wanting to be fit versus actually scheduling, say, a 30-minute walk 3 times a week. That schedule, that's the system.
That's the engine, not just the spark. Small steps done consistently.
And those small, consistent efforts, they add up. It's that compounding effect over time. It builds momentum almost automatically.
Okay, so let's get practical. Something you've probably seen a lot. SMART goals. It might sound a bit like jargon, but it's actually a super useful tool for adding that clarity we were talking about.
It really is. It forces you to break down those fuzzy ideas. So SMART, S is for specific, right?
Right, so instead of just learn English, maybe it's learn 10 new English vocabulary words related to my job each week. Much clearer.
Definitely. Then M, measurable. How will you track those 10 words? A list, flashcards, an app maybe.
Good point.
No?
And knowing you can measure it is motivating in itself, I find.
It can be. Next is A, achievable. Is learning 10 words a week actually doable with your current life, your job, your family? Set the bar right.
Yeah, realistic, but still a bit of a stretch maybe. Not setting yourself up to fail.
You're relevant.
And R, relevant. This is crucial. Why this goal? Why now? Why does it matter to you?
If you're learning those English words to, say, talk to international colleagues, that's a powerful why. It connects to something bigger.
That personal connection. And finally, 10, time-bound. When do you want to achieve this? By the end of the quarter. In 6 months. Gives you a deadline.
A deadline creates that necessary push, a sense of focus.
Absolutely. And that relevant part, the why. The sources really hit on this hard. Goals without that deeper emotional anchor, they're just easier to drop when things get tough.
So true. If you're learning English just because you feel you should, versus dreaming of backpacking through Southeast Asia and needing to communicate, well, that dream is a much stronger driver.
It taps into something more resilient than just willpower, right?
Yeah.
What's the real personal reason behind it all?
Understanding that core motivation helps you stick with the systems. Even when the initial excitement wears off, it keeps you going.
Which brings us back perfectly to building those systems, the engine, the daily habits, the weekly routines that actually move you forward.
Yeah, like setting phone reminders, using a habit tracker app, maybe blocking out time in your calendar each week. Consistent actions.
It's like motivation lights the fuse, but the systems are the fuel that keeps the rocket going.
Well put. Systems make progress almost automatic. They take the load off relying on feeling motivated every single day because, let's face it, nobody feels motivated every day.
So true. Okay, so wrapping this up, the big takeaways seem to be: forget the vague wishes, Get specific. Build concrete systems, those daily habits, and really understand your personal why.
That combination seems to be the key. Clarity, action, and meaning.
Right. So maybe something for listeners to think about drawing on all this. What's one goal you can make SMART right now? And maybe what's just one tiny daily or weekly action, one system you could start today to support it? Just some food for thought. You know that feeling when you're like really up against it, trying to learn something new, maybe the language or just get good at something, and you just feel like, ugh, I've hit a wall. Like some people just get it and others don't.
Oh, absolutely. That's such a common feeling, and it really gets to the heart of what we're looking at today. The power of your mindset.
Right.
We're doing a deep dive into what having a growth mindset actually means, and how shifting that perspective could genuinely change things in your life.
Exactly. We've been digging into these core ideas about mindset, basically, what you believe about your own smarts, your talents.
Yeah.
And it's definitely more than just thinking positive thoughts, isn't it? It actually shapes how you handle challenges, how you bounce back when things go wrong.
Fundamentally, yeah. And ultimately, what you feel you can achieve. So our aim today is to really unpack what a growth mindset is and maybe offer some practical first steps for thinking a bit differently.
Okay, so where does this idea mostly come from?
A lot of the groundwork was laid by Carol Dweck. Her research contrasts these two core mindsets, fixed versus growth.
Fixed versus growth, okay.
So with a fixed mindset, you basically believe your qualities, intelligence, talent are pretty much set in stone. You've either got it or you don't.
Right, so challenges feel risky, like they might expose your limits.
Exactly. They can feel like a threat. And this isn't just theoretical stuff. Studies link a growth mindset to better job satisfaction and even stronger relationships, because you see challenges there too as chances to learn and improve, not just dead ends.
Okay, so the flip side. If you have that fixed mindset and you stumble, it just kind of confirms that feeling of, see, I knew I couldn't do this.
Precisely, which can lead you to, avoid difficult things altogether, or give up easily, maybe even feel a bit resentful when others do well.
Like you're just stuck with the cards you were dealt.
That's a good way to put it. Now, the alternative, the growth mindset, that's the belief that your abilities, your intelligence, they aren't fixed. They can actually be developed. How?
Through, dedication, effort, learning strategies. Mistakes aren't failures in this view. They're information, feedback.
Stepping stones, almost.
Yeah, exactly. Stepping stones to getting better.
Okay, let's dig into that. So facing something tough with this growth mindset, your internal chat changes. Instead of I'm stuck, it's more like,
They're like, okay, this is tricky. It's going to take effort. Maybe I need a different approach.
but I can figure this out. I can learn.
Leaning into it.
That's the core idea, leaning in.
But hang on, is there a risk of taking this too far? Aren't there some things where raw talent does play a big role? Or where some fixed limits might be real?
That's a fair point, and it comes up. Innate talent can give you a head start, absolutely, no doubt.
Okay.
But the research consistently points to sustained growth, real mastery. Even in fields like music or sports where we talk a lot about naturals, it relies heavily on effort, on learning, on adapting over time. Think about those top performers. Yes, maybe some initial aptitude, but then years of dedicated practice. That's growth mindset in action.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, so for someone listening, what does this mean practically? How do you actually start to, build this growth mindset? It's not instant, right?
Definitely not a light switch. But there are concrete things you can do. A big one is consciously embracing challenges.
Instead of dodging them.
Yeah. Instead of that instinct to back away from stuff that feels hard, try seeing it as a chance to stretch yourself, to expand what you can do. Can you think of anything recently like that?
Maybe. Okay, yeah. Volunteering for that work presentation, my gut reaction was, nope, I'm terrible at public speaking.
A very fixed mindset thought.
Right. But reframing it as, okay, this is a skill I can develop with practice that feels different, that feels more like growth.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. Another piece is how you view effort.
Okay.
With a fixed mindset, needing to try hard feels like proof you're not naturally good at it. It's almost shameful.
Yeah, I can see that.
But a growth mindset sees effort as the path to getting good. It's essential, not a sign of weakness. Dedication is how you build mastery.
And what about feedback, criticism?
Crucial. Instead of taking it personally, like it's an attack or just confirms you're flawed, you see it as valuable data. information to help you adjust and improve. It's constructive, not destructive.
Okay, that's a big shift. And you mentioned learning from others.
Yes, instead of feeling threatened or jealous when others succeed, try to get inspired. What did they do? What can you learn from their approach? Their success shows what's possible with hard work.
Okay, so wrapping this up a bit, the core difference is stark. Fixed mindset, my abilities are capped. Growth mindset, I can develop my abilities through effort and learning.
That's a great summary.
So it's about embracing challenges, valuing that effort, learning actively from feedback, and finding inspiration, not envy, in others' wins.
You got it. It's a fundamental shift in perspective.
So as a final thought for everyone listening, maybe consider, where in your own life might you be operating with a bit more of a fixed mindset than you realize?
That's a powerful question.
And what's maybe one small change in how you think about a challenge starting today that could unlock some real growth?
Yeah, definitely something worth mulling over. Where could that shift open a new door for you?
All right, that brings us to the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this little tour of English in everyday life, from travel to food, work to fun. If you liked this episode, please share it with your friends. Leave a review, and don't forget to subscribe for more episodes coming soon. And, hey, what's your favorite way to practice English? Let me know by sending me a message or commenting on our socials. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm your host, and this was the Learn English podcast. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep speaking. Bye for now.